Welcome to the next video. In this video and in the next videos, I want to talk about documentation strings, or in short, docstrings in Python. And once again, I have my vector2d class here, and we want to add docstrings to our functions here. And at first we start with the Numpy docstring style. So there are different docstring styles in Python, and I will show you the three most used docstring styles. Today the Numpy style, in the next video the REST style, and in the last video the Google style. Since we are using VS Code and we have installed an extension for generating docstrings in the first chapter, namely the Python docstring generator extension, we can pretty easily generate docstrings here for our vector class. At first we have to go to the settings, so I click here on the bottom left corner on this settings icon. So I go to settings, and now I can click here on extensions, and I scroll down to Python docstring generator. For this extension, I can set the docstring style, so Google, Swings, or Numpy. So the REST style would be the also called Swing style. And for the current video, I choose the Numpy style. Also, I had the setting generate docstring on enter, and I have activated the guest types part. Also, you can set here if you want to use single quotation marks or double quotation marks for your docstrings. So I have chosen single quotation marks. So if I go back to the vector numpy style.py file, and here we have our formatted Python code, so the formatted Python code by AutoPep8, I can just now enter here 3 single quotation marks, and now I have the option here to generate a docstring. So I can either click here on this field with my mouse, or I can press enter, and the docstring extension has now generated a template for the dunder init method here. So for example, our method has 2 parameters, x and y, so it created here in the parameters list 2 entries for x and y. Also, based on the default value, it guessed the type, so it said it is probably an int. If I would add here that x and y has a default value of a float, I can remove the docstring again and insert it. So now the tool would guess, okay, the type should be probably a float. So that is based on the default value. As we will see in this chapter, when I will show you type annotations, we can annotate these parameters and make it more clear what types are allowed. So now we see here we have a summary entry, and I can type here now create a vector2d object. Then I can press the tab, and I will go to the next highlighted entry. So these highlighted entries are parts that we have to set now. So if I want to change the type here, because I think it's not a float, for example, it should be, I don't know, an integer or something, I could edit this. If the float is okay, I can press tab again, and I will skip to the description part here. And here we would describe the parameter. So for example, this would be the x coordinate of the 2D vector. Then I can skip to the type of the y parameter, which is okay. Another skip to the description of the y parameter, and I can say here the y coordinate of the 2D vector. I press tab again, and here I'm in a new section. So and this is a Numpy docstring, but in general, docstrings have different categories. We have a category for parameters, for return values, and for exceptions. So if our function or method has an exception, the tool would generate automatically this raises section here. If our method or function does not have any exceptions, for example, the tool wouldn't generate this part. So based on our function, the correct sections here for our docstring are generated. So for example, our dunder init method doesn't return anything, so the return section was skipped by the docstring tool. So here our type error, for the moment I can just enter here our user-defined type error text, for example. So if I go down to a function where we return something, so for example I can go to the dunder apps method, I can enter my 3 single quotation marks, I press enter, and now here we can see that we have this returns section. And here we can just say what the type of the return is, but that would be here a float. And description would be absolute value of the vector, for example. So the Numpy docstring style is based on these different sections that are delimited or at first started by these dashes. So these dashes are the underlines for the section name. So the parameters are underlined by these dashes. Then we have all our parameters here, for example, and every entry here for a parameter starts with the parameter name and the column. Then after each section we have an empty line, and then the next section would start if we have another section. So here raises starts, it's underlined again, so the number of dashes is equal to the number of characters in the section name, and this is the Numpy style. So in the next video I will show you the swing style, and I will see you there again. Bye bye.